Hello, my name is Veronica, and welcome to the Learning Lab, episode 13, the trophy card or the stand-up box card, but in a smaller size. I was so enthralled by the way the 6x12 one turned out that I gave my hand at using the 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. If you're interested in finding out this technique, come on into the Learning Lab and let me show you how. Much of what we did is going to follow the exact same technique of the 6x12 card. You are starting out with an entire 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that you are going to remove 1 inch from, and you're going to make score marks again. This time at 1 inch, 2.5 inches, 3.5 inches. Your slit is going to be at 5. You're going to cut that, leaving a 1/2 inch on each end. You're going to score at 6.5, 7.5, and at 9. Remember, you remove that last inch from your paper. So once you've done that, you now have your piece of paper. I'm going to take my craft knife and reinforce the slit that I made, just sliding in my helix pad. And I'm just going to go from one end to the other. If you don't trust yourself, you can use a metal edge ruler to line it up, but I don't think it's that critical. Now we're ready to fold our paper. I like to start with the score that's closest to the center. We're going to turn this around now and go to the other side. But let's go ahead and fold this under, and you'll see that it comes out just like your 6x12, but a much smaller format. But now is also the point where if you want to distress any of your edges, this is the opportunity to do it. Now, if you're feeling really ambitious and you have some of those border punches, you can also go along and punch a border here, or use some of those Fiskars decorative edge scissors just to add a little oomph to your project. At this point, we're ready to put on our side panels here, but before we do that, I want to go back and share those cut measurements with you. I have taken the same piece that I used for scoring just to get my measurements. I know that my paper is 4 1/4 this way. Going across here is 3 inches. So if I want to remove 1/4 inch, I'm going to cut it 2 3/4 and 4. The same thing in the skinny panel. This is 4 1/4 by 1 inch. Again, I'm going to cut it 3/4 and 4. Do you hear the repeating theme of and 4? That lets me know that when I go to my other 8.5 by 11 sheet, I need to remove 1/4 inch so that my paper now measures at 4 inches this way. And going back to my trusty trimmer, and we're going to pretend this is one of the big 12-inch ones, I'm going to slide my paper in and pretend my ruler is continuing out this way. So I'm going to make my first cut, removing this, is at 9 1/4. My second cut, I'll slide this down, and looking at the top, is going to be at 8.5. And then my final third cut is going to be at 7 3/4. And what this is going to do when I'm finished is it's going to leave me 6 3/4 inches of paper remaining. If you measure this out just right, you can maximize your paper. So when you're done, it's going to look like this. And those are the strips that I removed, and this is all of the paper that I have still left to cut from. Now let's go ahead and add these to our card base. I'll bring that back in, and again, using whatever your favorite adhesive is, go ahead and adhere those down. Now, quite often I use liquid glue to adhere down a lot of my items, and when I'm doing small pieces like this, I do a kiss technique with it. I take my other piece, put it on top, kiss them together, and it helps to spread out the glue so that now when I go back to my base, I have two pieces that are nicely glued. Now that I have my pieces secure, I'm ready to turn this over and reinforce my slit again. And as you can see here, there it is. And I'm only having to go over that one time because the paper on top is a paperweight paper. And now I have my slit. Let's move on to our card insert that's going to stand and deliver. So now I'm ready to cut my insert. We're going to pretend this is my long trimmer. And the first thing I'm going to do is remove 1 1/4 inch from this 4 1/4 by 11 piece of paper. It's just your regular 8 1/2 by 11 cut in half. My first cut will be at 9 3/4 inches. My second cut is going to be at 6 1/2. And my final piece that's going to be left on there is going to be 3 1/4 by 4. Please see the Learning Lab episode number 11 if you have questions about how to cut your paper. Now you have your insert. Just remember when you're decorating this that you need to leave at least 1 inch of space at the bottom so that it can go through your slit. Again, you can decorate the front and you can decorate the back to go into it. These would make great place settings at a wedding or a rehearsal dinner or a Christmas dinner at your house. And again, for a wonderful advent calendar. One day on the front, another day on the back for the kids. And in the sides, just put a little treat for them and you can make a little flap to cover that. I think that would be excellent. Now we're ready to slide our insert into the base. And you're just going to simply slide this in, turn it over, and this time you're going to turn it over and you're going to bring up this bottom so that it catches right there on your card. So if you look, this is where you want to line up. Now I did what I said don't do, which was made it a little lower than my inch, but I can fudge that. Once I glue this down, I can make sure I have the stopping place. So using your favorite adhesive, go ahead and glue that down. I'm going to use my Aleene's 2-in-1 glue because I really like the way that works. And I'm going to apply my glue just down here. So now I want to come around from the top with the base of my card and just stick that into place and line it up. And there it is. Now I just want to do the same thing to this side by applying some more adhesive. And I like this glue because it is repositionable and forgiving if I don't happen to get it right the first time. Then I'll take this one, pull it around, and now I just want to make sure my base lines up. Focus here. And once I get that where I want it, I can give it a nice press, and there is my finished card. Just go ahead and fiddle a little bit to get it where you want it. And there is my completed card. Cute, 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 cute. Turn it around, and here's the other side, and you can always put some decorations on that as well. So now you have a lovely double-sided stand and delivered card. And I'll bring back in the one that I showed in the opener, and there they are. Thank you again for joining me in today's lab to learn how to make this stand-up trophy card in miniature. Please remember to check out my blog for specific measurements. That's at inkallusions.blogspot.com. Until then.